All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple ways in which you can interact with this content. But the best way, in my opinion, is the blog. And the blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. But that's a lot to remember or to type in. So, wherever you are interacting with this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Click on that. Another box opens. Uh, if you're on YouTube on a mobile device, you may have to click more twice. But if you see a blue link that says My FX, just click on that. Yeah. And give it a minute to open. All right. I don't have the most trending new um, blog, so it may take a while to open. But anyway, and there's nothing, sometimes I have little goodies that I find and I put them at the bottom, but nothing um, today. So another reason I recommend you go to the blog, the free blog, and you don't even have to put your email address in, and I don't sell you anything, is because I put the video there so you can watch the video and read along. And some people say that helps them. So, yeah. But I know some of you are washing dishes or on the treadmill or sitting, relaxing, drinking coffee. Yeah. So, all right. So we'll get into it. So I posted this morning. It is Thursday, August 21st, but this will probably upload. Oh my gosh. This will probably upload for tomorrow's date, but this is news covering August 21st. So, the this came out early in the morning, and I know some people just can't wait to read about the World Trade Organization, and this was pretty good. They still have there's still some steps they need to take, unless, like everything else for Iraq, they're going to be fast tracked. But Iraq's WTO breakthrough, World Trade Organization, global trade doors opening. So, if you didn't see yesterday's episode, you should watch it because yesterday's episode, the news was Aliyah Locke telling the world, right, the world that watches, they've been processing it said most of the world, most of the global currencies for 2 years. So they are ready to do trade. So the systems probably know how to do dinar to whatever, right? Not just dinar to dollar, not just dinar to the Jordan dinar. Um, yeah, they can do others. Probably not all 204. I think there's 204 currencies that are recognized. But I think probably G20, G50 countries. But yeah, so that even though it was a little tiny article, just four sentences, I think it has a really big impact. The words are important. I mean, because it may seem like they're working backwards, but it would be a big flop if they go live with their rate change and then they can't process. Say people in London go to exchange and they get an error message or whatever. It doesn't work. Then what happens? People lose confidence again and the rate of their currency will go down. So, yeah. So I think they had to make sure they could process trade exchange rate calculations, right? With global currencies, the other currencies, and then they could change, just plug in a new rate. The computers know what to do, then they'll just recognize the new rate and keep on trucking. So, that's just my mind, my uneducated about international or global finance mind, right? So, yeah. So getting into the World Trade Organization, I could care less about this. But it does say they've been trying to do it for 20 years. There's a team helping them, and so they say everything's done, the package, whatever it is that needs to be done, and they'll have a meeting, but it doesn't say when the next meeting is. It's called right here. The files will be officially submitted to the World Trade Organization Secretariat through diplomatic channels in preparations for the next meeting of the working group. So they probably want more eyes, right, to check and double check and triple check, because they don't want paperwork going through with errors, right? So, yeah. So if you want to read that, you can. Okay, now this I find interesting. The Parliamentary Finance Committee reveals the reasons behind the sudden rise in the dollar, and it's back up to 1450. So 1450 dinars per dollar, which means somewhere someone is probably charging 1500 dinars per dollar, and someone's probably paying it. And this is going to explain another reason why. No one else said this, but this is a Parliament Finance Committee member. Reveals the reasons behind the sudden rise in the dollar. The U.S. Federal Reserve rejected remittances despite their fulfillment of the conditions. So do you remember? I don't know how long ago, but those of you who listen to me, and God bless you if you listen to me. Oh, if you can follow me, right? But there was a bank, it may have even been Rafidian Bank, but they said, hey, we put our transaction through, all the documentation was right, everything, but Oliver Wyman or Ernst & Young, one of those companies stopped it. And remember, I was like, hey, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to send you this back so you can redo it with the proper information, or we're just going to wipe this out and not act like you didn't try to run some incorrect paperwork through the new system? Do you guys remember that? I don't know. I remember that. And then I said, I hope they have the evidence when they're accusing these banks of faulty transactions. I hope they have the evidence, right, to be doing that. So yeah, so they're saying we're putting the transactions through, they're believing they've done it correctly, and the Federal Reserve either rejects it or they slow it down. And so now, do you remember? Oh, well, if you didn't watch yesterday's, there was a Suleimanian, which is Kurdistan, trader, and he flat out said, oh, the reason the dollar is rising is because some crooked businessmen and some other group, they are sending more money abroad. The amounts are indicating they're sending more money abroad, and then they're sending it back into the country with a different amount or something. I just probably totally messed that up. But he described the process to a T. Remember that? Those of you who did listen. And he said it's slow. The process is slow. So that's what this is saying. There's a large number of transfers that get rejected despite their fulfillment. A month after submitting the funds and completing the transactions, the rejection comes. which prompted traders once again to withdraw their Iraqi money from banks and turn to the black market, the parallel market, to transfer the amounts by other means. But I'm like, what are the other means? I thought they shut everything down. Apparently not. So the issue relates to the extent to which financial traders from Iraqi traders are accepted by government agencies within the framework of the central banks and the SWIFT system. So see, there's another little tidbit that if it wasn't for this person, Moeen, which I think is a woman, the name is Moeen, last name Kadimi, but it doesn't matter, but I'm just saying I think it's a woman. Yeah, so then they have the rate there. All right, so some people will like this. I don't like this, but 150% jump in electronic payments in Iraq. Will cash disappear? And I'm going to say no, it will not. They're trying though, right? They are trying, but you've got to fight. Now, I know no one's going to get that, but that is one of my favorite scenes from Gladiator. When they are sitting down, I think they're sitting down eating, and Jaimin Hunts's character tells the star, I can't think of his name, why don't you fight? You've got to fight. So when you hear me say that, that is what I'm doing. And I say that often. You've got to fight. Because we do. We have to fight. There's more of us than there are of them. Okay, that's a Disney movie, right? An Ant's Life, A Bug's Life. That's another one. But I'm going to leave the movies alone right now. So now this says the Baghdad Digital Transformation Council. So from the title, silly me, I was thinking the whole country is up 150%, but no, just the Baghdad area, which makes sense, right? That's where most of the cityfied people are. Although I don't think we talked about, there was that article, We're Here for You, We Reach You, very creepy, but maybe it was a translation, but they were saying how they're going out to the rural areas to talk to the people about the electronic systems. But I know it was all over everywhere else. It came out that day that I had the internet problems. So yeah, that would go right in line with this, with these, the government wanting them to use right here. Oh yeah, it says while the government sector is witnessing a significant expansion in the use of electronic payments, the private sector remains slow to adopt these systems. And remember, they have the same issue. If they use cards, they have to pay. They have to pay transaction fees, right? And I don't know if the company takes even more money, right? Well, that's all we know is they have to pay. So the private sector is like, shoot, um, I don't want to, well, because usually what they do is charge the customer, right? Like when I used to live in another city, and there was a place every now and then I like to get donuts. I know it's bad. I know donuts are bad, but every now and then, especially on a cold morning, two glazed rounds, with coffee just hits the spot, right? And she would always say, you have to pay 50 cents. You pay 50 cents. And so I started going there enough. I would just tell her, yeah, I pay 50 cents. And she would laugh. She would laugh at me. I said, I bet you get tired of saying that. Because if the order is under $10, right, you have to pay 50 cents or whatever. But I miss those donuts too. They made some good donuts. Anyway, all right. So this here, this, I don't know why the bold didn't stay, but I like this paragraph. This leap in electronic transactions has sparked controversy, both locally and internationally, with supporters viewing it as a step toward modernization and stimulating the formal economy, and the opponents warning of threats to privacy and excessive reliance on technology. So they do know, the Iraqis do know, and they're going to fight because they're going to use their cash, right? So this made me really happy, as you can hear in my voice. Oh, all is not lost for humanity. So yeah, and then they have an article. Is it here? No. They have an article talking about. Oh, here. Since we're here, let me show you the rate. How AI. And warning, if you're a person who plans on buying a plot of land out in the middle of nowhere and building you a nice fancy house, dream house, make sure there's no plans to build a Bitcoin factory or an AI data center, because more and more they're showing it changes the water and it eats the electricity, and then the people have to pay more. I was gonna post that, but I figured we'd probably run out of time. Anyway, yeah, so that's in Iraq's news. They're talking about our situation. Yeah. So, all right. So let's see. I'm pretty sure that's probably still 1287. Yeah. So Forex is showing 1287 for the bid, 1339 for the ask. But the Google, look at that, 1313. Let's see if it's still, if that's what it is. Yep. So that 1313, that's a pretty cool number, right? But that's saying the dollar is rising and the dinar is weakening. So it's not good, but hopefully it's only temporary. All right. So we'll go back. Tomorrow I will put that article there because, see, I don't know, I don't watch our news, so I don't know if they're talking about that in the news. The news that you watch on TV. If you watch other, I hate to say alternative, um, different news sources, and you can ask, what's the effect on a neighborhood when an AI data center is built close to it, right? You can do a Google search and read and watch until your little heart's content. All right, so there's us. We're putting new sanctions on Iran's secret fleet. And they always brag about, we have these missiles you haven't seen yet, or we have this. Well, I guess maybe they've brought it out. I mean, how else could we have sanctions? So clearly I didn't read that article, right? But I'll put it there for those of you who may want to read. So, interesting enough, Halliburton showed up for the development of Basra fields, and they met with Sudani. But at one of the fields, the workers are on strike because they want to bring some of the Basra workers over to this other field, and I guess they've told them some of them are going to lose their jobs to make room for these Basra people. So they're having sit-ins. Can you believe that? In the heat? Yeah, just another little side thing. I just like to show things like that to show they worry about the same things we worry about. Job, well, shelter, right? Security for a living, where you live. They want their kids to go to school, um, job security, you know, things like that. Um, they have crime like we do. Well, not like we do, but they have drugs. Um, they have crazy things. I don't even want to tell you. Very violent, very violent, and They don't have that agency that says, hey, if you're going to show entrails and stuff, you have to blur it out. Yeah, they don't have that agency there. So you got to be careful when you open some of those articles. All right, and look who else is there to resume oil production in Kurdistan, Norway. Yeah. And you can read that article. That was a good article and very easy to read. And if you'd like to support my FX buddies, there's the ways to support me. Big or small, I appreciate it all. Buy me a coffee. Actually, I can't touch because this is a live blog already because I posted it earlier in the day. And Cash App is $ Tishwash, all lowercase letters, and PayPal the same. And there's a QR code for Cash App for those who like them. Thank you for your generosity in advance. Now, here's another thing I don't care about, but I know people do. This TIR system that they call it something else, International Road Transport Union. They had 8 trucks go through. An 8-truck convoy went to Jordan through Iraq on those new development road paths. So it's very exciting for them. Oh, here's another article about Norway. Different one. See, this one's longer. It has a little more detail. And I think this is the last article. It is. So I'm always telling you guys I can't get a read if this administration likes Sadani or not. Now this is written by, who wrote this? It might be at the bottom. But a second term hanging by a thin thread, Sadani swings between Washington and domestic allies. Who are the domestic allies? Now, it could be the Shiites. Shiites, whatever, because that's what he is. If you see all his names, his 4 or 5 names, it says Shia in his name. And remember I told you he went out. One of the very first places he went to was that tribe, and they dressed him. They put the robe and the head thing on him. Yeah, so I don't know. But it says the scene reveals a complex battle where domestic considerations intersect with external dictates. Can't you just hear the drama? The upcoming elections are becoming an indirect battleground for the struggle over the identity of the Iraqi state between the government centralization project and armed pluralism project, which constitutes an extension of the post-2003 balance of power. And that's what it is. They're trying to balance between. So the other option would be Iran, right? But we notice how we're in both of those scenarios. It's Washington and the tribal people, or Washington and Iran. It's probably Iran. But yeah, so okay, and then another thing that is good, I guess, positive news. They put out the agendas, so they're going to try to have 3 more parliamentary sessions before it's time for them to leave. And none of them have that PMF law on it. So that's good. Unless they try to sneak it in, right? Which, pay one of the Iranian politicians enough and I bet you they'll try to sneak it in, right? So I'll keep my eye on that. But other than that, there's still something going on. So Iraq has put out a warning saying, hey, we don't know what's going on, but someone's messing with our GPS tracking of our aircrafts that are flying over our country. And every day they're putting out a report of how many they could count flew over. And something's going on with the neighbor in Ice Cream Land. I still can't figure out what. And there was, hold on. Okay, so this is an article. I'm not posting it. Okay, but you could pause here and read it. So the neighbor closed their airspace, and they're saying because the Revolutionary Guard, which is like their military, carried out a test of a kablooey. So I'm like, is this really the best time to be testing kablooies when there's kablooies all around you? But I yeah, so I don't know. I was saying it seems like every time we get to a point where everything is good, right? The the CBI is talking about all the accomplishments they've done. The parallel market rate was going down. They're constantly talking to the people about the exchange rate, whether they're talking about devaluing or appreciating the value. All of that is good. And then we have these little situations going on that could ignite, right? So hopefully it won't, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I know some people don't like to focus, but my favorite book tells me what, what? A wise man sees trouble coming and gets prepared, right? So that's why I like to tell you stuff. I'm still believing for all things are possible in August. So, all right, yeah, we are done here. So I'm going to say appreciate while you wait for the rate. No, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Oh, don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out. And you don't have to leave right now because when this video's over, yesterday's episode, if you missed it, it's going to pop up and you could just click on it and watch yesterday's edition. And also, you should see a little icon in the lower right corner. You can easily just tap on that to subscribe if you'd like. But really, I think the thumbs up is more valuable to my channel. I'm still trying to figure that stuff out. All right. So tomorrow's Friday. We'll see what it brings. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time, thank you.